Hello and welcome to My Body, My Power podcast, where we shine our light, claim our worth, and empower the next generation. I'm your host, Kristen Rubis, a heart-led entrepreneur, mentor, and the creator behind the My Body, My Power movement. Here, we uncover authenticity, celebrate self-expression, and create a life and career that lights up the world. Welcome, Goddess. Let's dive in. Hello, My Body, My Power podcast. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Kristen, your host, and I'm deeply grateful to have an empowering conversation with Neko. Welcome, Neko.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. So tell us a little bit about yourself and the amazing work you do in this beautiful world.
Okay, so I am a priestess, tantrika. I'm an alchemistic mama to one child, and an herbalist, an astrologer, and I've been on this path, honestly, as long as I can remember. And my fascination with spirit began at a very young age. I had an auntie that came back from an ashram, and she stayed at my grandmother's, where I spent a lot of time. And I remember just being obsessed, like she would meditate for like 10 hours a day. And I was just like,
wow,
like shocked, and as a 3-year-old, like I had so much curiosity and interest. So she bought me a little meditation pillow, and I'd sit with her, and I'd just be like this, like peeking out occasionally. And that, I think, was the start of like when I remember feeling like there's really something more. And then I actually honestly had a pretty tumultuous childhood. Both my parents struggled with addiction a lot. So luckily I wasn't sent to foster home, but instead was sent to different family members.
Okay.
And one of the family members was my aunt and uncle and their 3 kids. And we would spend summers up in the Adirondack Mountains with them, my sister and I. And they are like 3 times a week churchgoers. They are like the speaking in tongues kind of a church vibe, So I was going all the time, and I felt so connected to God, and I got saved by Jesus Christ. And I was like the spokesperson, and I was in the choir, and I got to sing in front of thousands of people as a 7 or 8-year-old. I just, spirit has been like moving through me in so many ways for so long. And interestingly, the kind of like juxtaposition of those 2 aunties and their very different way of connecting with God. And yet it was clear. So as I got older and I started to question like some of my own, like, wait a minute, some of those religious teachings don't really resonate with me. But what, like, it made me kind of question, like, what if God even was real, honestly.
Yeah.
I felt pretty disconnected. By my teens, I felt like, well, this is a bunch of crap. And I don't resonate with a lot of the dogma that was coming through. So I kind of went on my own path. And through that, I was really into snowboarding. So I moved to Colorado, and I lived in the mountains and just wanted to live that life. I literally drove there with my car packed with like no plan, basically. And there's something about nature, and if you've ever been up to those high peak mountains, like the air is thinner and it's still, and I could see all the stars, and it was kind of a hippie town. So I started getting connected to herbal medicine. And I remember I got really sick, and my like Theraflu or my normal stuff wasn't working. And my friend came over with like lemons and honey and garlic. And I'm thinking, what are you going to do with that? And it just began to change my perspective. And then plants, I became obsessed with plants, and they became my gods. Yeah. I felt like, okay, nature is my God and plants are my God. And I went on to herbal school, and I dove deep into that work. And then I dove deeper into like the healing journey with my mother and her addiction. And my father had gotten sober, but he was pretty rough around the edges. And so I really honestly, I felt like I had to face this because of my upbringing was so rough. Like I kind of just had to face and remember a deeper, like more than just believing is seeing, but like really feeling the presence of the divine.
Yeah. Wow.
And so, fast forward, became a yoga teacher, went into yoga teacher training, did some deep dive plant medicine journeys, and more just kind of like realized like this is my whole essence. This is my whole life. My work is who I am. It is my life. I came to know ecstatic dance, and then like that ripped open a whole new layer because I was always a dancer in, the regular choreographed dance, jazz and all that. And so a lot of my work centers around this awareness of reconnecting our animal body to God. I work with sacred sexuality. I became a tantrika. I started studying deep in 2013, and the classical teachings of Tantra. There's Neo-Tantra, which is the more like new age, let's figure out how to, have 8-hour-long sessions. And then there's the classical, more religious, honestly, doctrines and teachings. And I became obsessed with them, and specifically non-duality.
Okay.
So it just began to kind of like open and give myself grounding to a religious doctrine that actually resonates more. I will say I tend towards, I just kind of call myself like an eons old witch at this point, because I feel like I've picked up on all these things, but mostly it's come from inside. Like this awareness is like an inner landscape. And then, of course, happens to be that like, they're like, science is now proving that it is helpful to put your hands on the earth. I'm like, yeah, I know, so I'm trying to condense, but there's a lot to say.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate sharing that, just your journey and kind of how you came out of that with your childhood, and you had these aunties that were really supporting, but came from different parts, and then you wove it into what works for you. That's beautiful. Well, what's a story from your life that captures the essence of who you are today?
It's interesting because I was trying to think of what story it is, and the most recent story that's really transformed a lot of like how I wish to move forward in the world has to do with landing in that 2013 immersion, in the deep tantric immersion. I was working with my teacher every day, really deep in study. And then we had our final practicum, which was a retreat out in California. I lived in Colorado at the time, so I went out there. I did the retreat, blown open. I ended up that my family was happening to have a reunion just north in Washington State. So I went up there after, and I met with the auntie that used to meditate.
Oh, wow.
And all the aunties, but like, that one, her and I were talking, and we're talking about my teacher and this philosophy and this tantric teachings. And as we talked deeper and deeper, she's like, well, who's your teacher's teacher? Who's his guru? And I was like, I honestly can't remember. The Sanskrit name is so long, I can't remember. And she's like, is it Guru Mai? And I was like, yes. And she's like, that's the ashram I was at. I was at Guru Mai's ashram. And I was like, wow. So think about the wildness of, at 3 years old, I received a transmission. Wow. How many, like literally 20 years later, 30 years later, I end up in that same lineage, right? So from my perspective, I'm like, I'm moving to California to be close to my teacher. That's what I decided. And guess what Spirit did? Spirit was like, no, you're not. You're moving back to New York to be with your family.
Oh,
my grandmother specifically.
Wow.
And I was like, I don't want to move to New York. Have you been here? I don't know where you live.
Oh, yeah. I live in Washington State, but my sweetie's from the East Coast. He grew up in Jersey and New York, and we've been a few times. And it is mind blowing. New York is
I'm like,
incredible.
yeah, especially after being out in Colorado where it's like sunny 300 days a year. Like I'm out here and I'm like, I'm freezing and it's gray for 6 months. But it was so loud. The voice to move back was so loud that I learned at this point, thank goddess, to listen. So I came back. And it took me a while to land. I honestly had dark night of the soul when I first got back. You know how that is. It's like, but that's always where you're like, you're at your break. You're like, you're about to skyrocket, So I was like in it. It was one of the heaviest snowfalls that I've seen yet since I've been back. It was literally like 7 feet tall.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
There was like rows of sidewalk just where people snowblowed and it was like cars were covered. I ended up landing at this place called Yoga Farm in Ithaca, New York. This was 6 months later. I had a dark night of the soul for the whole winter, finally resurfaced in the spring and summer, found my place at the Yoga Farm. And he was just getting started, this man who had been like a CEO, Wall Street-ish guy, businessman, decided he had like an awakening and wanted to open a yoga studio out of his barn where he used to raise alpaca and as his little hobby farm. So he turned it into a yoga studio. I went there. I immediately felt like, yes, we teamed up. We ran the business together. We were, just growing the business, and it was so fun. And I had all these amazing other women living in this space. And it was like community. It was like what I always dreamed of, this like kind of felt like being on an ashram, but a little more chill. Yeah. There was no set guru, but really the work is about finding the guru within and really trusting. And all these sequence of events happened. My life was like, I actually haven't seen Harry Potter, but everyone says it was like a Harry Potter thing. Like it just was like magic everywhere.
Beautiful.
And I ended up meeting a man, making a baby very quickly. Spirit was very, like it was such a, I couldn't ignore the signs that it was like, you're going to have a baby. I literally heard a voice from Spirit say, you're making way to heal your past abortion and your wounds, and you're letting that baby spirit go, and you're making way for a new baby spirit. And its name is Hawk. And I was bawling as I'm hearing these words. And the man who I had the abortion with, who I'd been in a relationship with for 10 years, he actually called me during that ritual when I heard that, but I didn't answer because I was in my ritual. I was like in deep ceremony. And then I once I saw that he called, I'm like, oh my God, like, this is so weird. I couldn't even tell him. I didn't tell him until like a couple months later. I sent him a snail mail to be like, hey, I had this whole experience with this actual, a hawk bird. I had found a dead bird. It was like it's a very long story. So I'm just doing the key points, but basically hearing this story of I'm healing the wounds of my past abortion, and I'm making way for a baby spirit named Hawk. I told the guy, he was like, this is wild. He received the letter on Mother's Day, and it was the first day he had ever seen a placenta, which is weird because most people don't see placentas unless, you're somehow in that world. He didn't have a baby or anything, but his new girlfriend was a midwife. So she showed him this placenta because she was doing the placenta cooking thing so she could serve it back to her client. Yeah. And the baby that had been born that day with that placenta was named Hawk.
Oh my God.
So it was just like too many things, right? And I'm, because this beautiful hawk bird showed up in my life, a like fresh dead bird that wanted to be ceremonially cared for and tended to. So I harvested its feathers and its tail and its talons with Hawk. My daughter's name is Hawk. She turned 9 yesterday.
Happy birthday. Happy birthing day.
Thank you. And so it was just like this wild journey of like, my conscious brain didn't feel ready to have a baby, right?
Yeah.
But that's what Spirit did. But then as soon as that happened, basically the community that I lived in, Yoga Farm, they were like, there's no room for a baby here.
Oh.
You can't be here. And I'm like, We
Whoa.
literally been talking about community for this whole past 2 years.
Wow.
And I was devastated. And then they had a change of heart. They're like, never mind, you can stay. Because they told me that while I was pregnant.
Wow.
Never mind, you can stay. And I was like, okay, well then let's have some maybe a contract in place or something. Because I'm feeling really ouch.
Yeah, for reals.
Then, so we made a contract. Once she turns 6 months old, we'll finally begin to have conversations about how it makes sense for me to weave back into the business in the active way that I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
Well, 6 weeks goes by. I literally am still healing. I still have stitches that I'm they're not healed yet. And they call a meeting and they're like, this chapter's over. And I was just like, wow. And then they had a change of heart again. They basically felt bad again and were like, never mind. And by that point, I was like, you know what?
You can't ride that roller coaster. Yeah.
So quite frankly, it left a huge hole in my heart.
Yeah.
For a long time.
Wow.
Even though other community members totally swooped me up and held me, I really was longing for that connection to community, that service, that living where you live in the same place, where you work and your people come through. And, we had hundreds of people coming through every week with these classes where we were teaching not just yoga, but spiritual connection and somatic awareness and holistic embodiment and my sacred sexuality teachings. And I was hosting ecstatic dance there. It was,
wow.
It's my dream.
Yeah.
And so I got crushed.
Mm-hmm.
And I've slowly gained back my, what is this deeper thing for me? And I began to realize it's about building community still. It's still, that's still what I want to do. So amazingly, I've been talking to a woman who I met actually back at Yoga Farm. I actually was a part of her first ever feminine embodiment course while I was pregnant.
Oh. She
went on to Thailand and opened a whole jade temple and teaches women about feminine embodiment with yoni eggs and yoni wands and amazing, amazing being. She came back to Ithaca a few years ago. We've been in communication regularly. We're looking at land. We're looking at places. We have our little PDFs to get investors to help to grow this church of Venus. Because I realized through all this journey, I was losing my faith every step that I kind of got tumbled down, but the truth is that it's inside of us. Life does happen. Mm-hmm. Shit just keeps happening.
Yeah.
So how can we notice the patterns? Because that's the biggest thing is that basically I would reach this level of having this level, oh my God, I want this.
Yeah.
And then I finally open enough and then it comes in and then some part of me comes in and I'm just, no shame.
Right.
But we all have shadows. And so some part of me would come in and sabotage.
Wow. Subconsciously? Right?
Yeah, that's what happens. We all have a shadow. Anyone who has a pattern of I keep, whether it's an addiction that's more obvious or you end up self-abandoning by ending up in these relationships where you're over-giving or you're over-taking or you're disconnected or you just are isolated and you're scrolling on your phone and now you have these neurodivergencies. All of it is just a call to listen deeper to those voices that we are taught are too shameful or not okay. Right. And that's what I began to really understand in this process of spiritual, holistic connection is how do I not abandon the part of me that is hurting while still having the space to hold myself. And quite frankly, we need to do this shadow work. Otherwise that hungry ghost will just keep finding a slippery, slithery way in.
Thank you.
Yeah?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So my work is, I love saying holistic embodiment coach because it really is about okay, so a lot of people that end up coming to me start with I just want to receive I just want to connect more to my spirituality. And then it comes out that like they hate their relationship with their husband, or they're binge drinking, or they are like lifeless in their job, even though they're making money.
Right.
And so we need to work with these parts of us that we've been taught to push aside. And quite frankly, the feminine in general has been taught to be pushed aside, even in feminism, because now it looks like I'm a tough, badass, independent woman. Mm-hmm. Guess what? Now you're just holding it all by yourself. Right. Now you have to have the career and the child, or not the child, but something that's equivalent to like your, the thing that you've birthed, that you really brought into the world.
Right.
And that independent woman is still some like weird good girl that doesn't need anybody. But I want us to remember that we need each other.
Thank you. Yes. That's powerful. I got chills. I got long sleeves on, so we can't see. And I just want to share, there was a deer that just came into my backyard and is just sitting watching me do this. And I've had 3 hummingbirds come around. So yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I just want to speak to the deer real quick, because when I was at Yoga Farm doing this deep work, we did a chakra thing, and we had an animal for each chakra. And the one that was in my sacral was deer.
Wow.
And I have continued to work with deer as I worked with Hillary Kimball, the woman who runs the Jade Temple in Thailand. She will have us do this exercise where we like get really wild, And so I started to feel my wildness, but my wildness, even though I have this kind of ferocious energy too, the wildness that I'm most attuned to is the deer.
Wow.
Because deer is wild, but like soft. And I feel like that's been a big part of the journey for me, growing up without a real mother, like my mother not present. I had all these other amazing mother figures.
Yeah.
But, there's a certain thing that happens when your biological mother is not there.
Definitely.
And so I had to heal a lot of this feminine, and it's a continued process. I learned my dad was the main figure, and I learned how to be tough and independent and think for myself and question people and fight and yell and scream and like, just be a badass, but like kind of in that still like can't figure out how to ask anyone for help. Can't figure out how to open my heart more in a softer way. So deer has been like a very poignant. I love that deer is sitting there.
That's beautiful. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. Well, and I think too, being business owners, we are in our masculine in a sense of like making it all happen and putting yourself out there and marketing and da-da-da. But then, the spaces, the sacred spaces that we hold is really our feminine, where we are bringing in that sacred container and creating those spaces for humans to show up exactly as they are. I mean, my niche is women and girls as well, but I definitely hold other containers where it's all humans. But yeah, it is balancing that, the feminine energy and the masculine, and through our consciousness, subconsciousness, the way we express ourselves. And I'm a double Leo, so I definitely am a business owner. So, I'm used to being in that fire energy. But yeah, it's that softening into that grace of the feminine and the receiving. That's definitely been my teachings for a long time.
Yeah. And I honestly, quite frankly, out of all the business work that I do, whenever I've really up-leveled financially, it's when I stop looking at the spreadsheets and literally go outside and put my yoni on the earth, put my feet on the earth, pray to the goddess, pray to the god. Like, I really love seeing myself as the child of the Mother Earth and Father Sun. I like seeing them as a relationship. I like seeing them as like, I know a lot of us grew up without healthy relationship models, but if we look outside and feel the energy of the sun and the way he's this like fierce masculine presence that's so loyal and devoted, and he shows up every day for her, he shows up. And because of that, she stays in his orbit, and she's just like dancing and playing and sensual and sexy and giving birth and giving life. And I love imagining myself as their child which means that also I have that loyalty within myself. I have that fierce fire, and I also have that soft feminine. I have that sensual play, and I think that's the Holy Trinity, quite frankly. Like,
that's beautiful.
You know, so the work that I do looks at a lot of the shadow stuff. Have you heard of existential kink?
I have, but explain for our listeners, if you will.
It was in 2020 that I fell upon this because I was in a relationship that was so toxic, and I'm like, I'm too old for this. What am I doing with my life right now? But well, I guess it was 2019, actually. It was right before the pandemic, but I must have been preparing. I was like falling apart and like going head over heels for this guy that was like not the match for me, but it was addictive, It was like drawing me in, and I was processing with a good friend of mine, and she's like, well, have you heard of existential kink? And I'm thinking, what is this BDSM stuff? Like, no. And no, it's based on Carl Jung's work. It's the woman, Carolyn Elliott, who wrote it is brilliant. She goes by Carolyn Lovewell now, actually, but she's just taking Carl Jung's work, which is until you make the unconscious conscious, your unconscious stuff, it'll rule your life, and you call it fate, or you feel like a victim to it, or you're just a captive audience to it. So it really helped me get on board with like, what part of me actually likes this bad boy? What part of me enjoys being in this addiction cycle with someone who's an addict, which is, pretty much the most triggering thing I could do, considering my upbringing. But it was perfect medicine. And I began to see and understand why I was calling in what I was calling in. This model, coupled with somatic experiencing, which is also another thing I dove head first into during this time, helped me gracefully exit the relationship in record time and open my heart to really holding my shadows in a different way. And that began to open up my Eros and my experience of how God and Eros are actually like intertwined. So I love thinking about how, in the church and in school and everywhere, even though church and state are apparently separate, like they're not. It's all over our money. In God we trust. It's in the courtrooms. It's everywhere. How do we genuinely connect to our life force, our creative life force? We all got here through an orgasm, at least one. Every time that I've connected with God myself, it feels pretty orgasmic. It's not like the same kind of orgasm, but it's it's a bliss state. The state that you can frequently find in those intimate moments with another. And so learning how to kind of like tangle all the shame around our animal bodies and our desires, and instead bring it in. Christianity wants us to just push the devil out and banish.
Yeah.
Pray for you, and we're going to get him out, and like, actually, I think that works sometimes. That's a very masculine way to go. And like, sometimes it's like, get the fuck out. But sometimes, usually, it really helps to pull that wound in closer. And notice where we're feeling it in the body. And then it integrates and metabolizes on its own. And that's the same thing as like the spreadsheets. It's like I can crunch numbers and do market research and figure out how to make myself scale. Or I can pray, connect to my womb, connect to my heart, maybe do a little arousal magic or sex magic. With myself or an other, and go spend time on the earth as the child of that delicious relationship of earth and sun, and really watch and feel myself expand abundantly. And that's when my, $1,000 starts stacking higher and higher.
Yeah, good for you.
It's just real. It just fucking works.
Yep.
Having done both, having tried and honestly still do both. But like when I start getting too like, I can't decide, or like, go, I notice I'm getting too masculine with my business. Yeah. That's when it's like, go put your pussy on the earth, girl.
Yeah.
When did you last self-pleasure? Slow it down, so that level of awareness, it's just the balance. And that's what I think this is about, the balance of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And I love how it continues to foster hope and cultivate a genuine like peace. Like we're married, like that unconscious and the conscious parts of us are married, but is it a happy marriage or is it a lifeless, shitty, avoidant marriage?
Right. Well, and I just think so much is getting into the body and somatically and embodying these parts. And we so much live in our heads. I mean, even before the internet, I mean, it's been crazy since the internet, but it's just so challenging for a lot of people to just pause. I mean, talking to myself from time to time here, just be present, slow down, notice nature, get outside, like everything you're saying, like that's really all that we need to do. I mean, and then if you have that within community, all the better, but just to be able to put your feet on the earth or go, I mean, it's raining right now. It's like just go outside and stand in the rain.
Exactly.
Let the earth bless you. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you. It's powerful. I mean, and that's, not to get all feminist, but that's really how we take our power back too, as humans, but as women. I mean, there's no joke that we've had it rougher on the planet globally. Yes. So that's real. It's not, we all know that if we're living an awake life. So it's like to be able to really embolden that and to be this authentic expression of the feminine, because it's all different. I mean, I'm resonating with everything you're saying. I don't necessarily incorporate everything you're saying, but I'm probably going to start, I mean, and that's why I love these podcasts, because it's just within this conversation, we're always gleaning some kind of tools or opportunities for ourselves and our listeners. And yeah, I really think it's the embodying, coming back to the body first and just tending. Does it need water? Do you need sleep? Do you need to get outside? The body and nature, really, it's how we come back home. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. Well, on that body note, what does my body, my power mean to you?
Yeah. I think that it means I see how I really like there's a certain awareness, and the practice of like doing these practices with myself, helping to remember, especially because when we're in this like teaching role or facilitation role, it can become this, kind of like streamlined, and then we're doing it, but like, how can I drop in deeper, and then to me, like one of the main things when I think about the body, so my work, there was a few years ago, I was doing this, I did this summit, I called it, was it Body Reset Empowerment. But as I was diving deeper into like what the actual like channeling was for it, because that's a lot of how my work comes in, is like, oh, it's not just the physical body, it's the emotional body, it's the energetic body, and it's the mental body. And when they're not in right relationship, meaning they're not operating together, there is a disconnect. So I'm obsessed with somatic body work. And when I started weaving in somatic body work with Reiki, with energy work, and mental body and emotional body stuff by letting people talk. Because, and I don't think there's anything wrong with getting people to shut up and just feel in their body. But the story helps us get places.
Sure.
And those oral traditions have largely we've been starving for them. So when we sit with an other and we share like this, it's massive. That's why people love listening to podcasts. then think about what happens when we can do it in a group circle dynamic. It's like so much begins to transform just by, this is what our ancestors did, like they sit in circle with each other. They sit around a fire. Sometimes there's talking, sometimes there's dancing. Sometimes there's silence.
Right.
And that level of, that's the power right there. And so one of the events that I host every week, which is my personal church, like it's hands down how I reconnect to God within myself and in my community, is called Dance Sanctuary. I live in Ithaca, New York. It's just an in-person.
Yeah.
People definitely have traveled from far away to come to it. We do it every Thursday night, and it's 6 to 8 p.m. And this is the 10th year. So we just started to change it up a little bit, because I realized, like, I mean, I'll just start with the essence of it. It's a tight container where we ask people to show up as they are, no drugs or alcohol. And we set an intention. We do a little guided meditation and set our intention collectively and personally. And then there's either a DJ or a set list that's specifically curated to take us through a dance journey that allows us to go more into trance state, that allows us to play with the inner child, with the inner crone, with the inner bad girl, with the inner bad boy. Like it's totally a multi-generational space. We literally have like 0 to 80 up in there.
Beautiful.
And those kinds of spaces where we actually are also not just have permission to, but are encouraged to show up as ourselves. Because so many times that we're going and gathering with people, there's like the norms that you have to, like, you're playing a role, you're fitting into things. And especially me, the host, I'm like, I want to feel like this is my church too. Like, I don't just have to like make sure everyone's feeling good. Like it's a collaborative effort. So we do have rules, like no phones, no shoes on the dance floor unless you need them, for your physical health. No talking on the dance floor in the normal conversational way. And really like a deep talk on consent and what it means, especially if you are male-bodied or female-bodied, and how to pay attention to listening to your nose, how to connect to the, subtle energy body. But it's really a laboratory where we're practicing being ourselves in a group. I'm like, pretend you're in your living room, but you get to get seen. And it's transformational because we're so used to being like, how are people seeing me? What do they think about me? I don't know how to dance. Like, first of all, I've never heard any baby under age 4 say they don't know how to dance. We all came in dancing. We all know how to dance. And what I love about this space is that you don't need to dance a specific way. It's literally like, some people just like gyrate. Some people are laying on the floor crying. Some people are running around the room constantly. Like, it's like, but we set such a tight container that it's similar to like when you're in like a deep medicine journey, like in a TP or something. Like, we go into a altered state of consciousness, which is my favorite thing, because I do like feeling high. I just don't like taking drugs. It takes too long. It gets too messy and messes with my chemicals too much. I tried all that. I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I love those altered states of consciousness where I feel connected to God, where I feel myself as the vessel for the divine.
Beautiful.
So that is our Thursday night thing. And then I do a lot of one-on-one. Most of my one-on-ones are honestly remote, over the phone. I find even with the Zoom, sometimes people really want to be on a video, we'll do it. But for the most part, I want their phone down. I want to help them tune into their body and not be worried about how they look on the screen.
Yeah.
And then I host numerous events, national and international. My upcoming is my Costa Rica retreat, 4th year running.
Woohoo!
Yeah. And it's a deep dive. It's 2 weeks. We really go, like, you want to go to Costa Rica and you want a real reset? Go with me.
Yeah, 2 weeks is a good amount of time.
It is transformational. And that ability to really give yourself that time and space to let the unfurling happen. The blue morpho butterfly. I'm like obsessed right now with these things that I got and how I, you know, we're transforming. What do we want to transform?
Mm-hmm.
It starts right around, you know, the Chinese New Year. This is our time to recalibrate and really set the tone for the year. What do you want to call into your life?
Mm-hmm.
If you know something feels off, but you don't know what it is, give yourself this gift. Or if you know that you have religious wounds, that you have spiritual wounds, that you have sexual wounds that you want to heal, give yourself this gift.
Mm-hmm.
It's all gendered.
All gender? Okay. Mm-hmm.
My kid is with me there, and usually there's one other kid there. I, as a parent, I am not a kid-centered parent. I'm a community-centered parent. I'm a very like granola parent. So a lot of the parents that I'm around are very kid-centered. Like they just run the whole show. And I'm like, that's not what's happening here. We are in community and we're teaching everybody how to be in community. And a part of why I'm telling that, you know, started with that yoga farm story is that as I became a mother, I was kind of like, what? So I either just be a mother by myself or I be in community?
Right.
Like I don't get to have both?
Yes,
I do.
Yes,
and so does everybody else. Parents need retreat more than anybody else.
Right.
I mean, I don't know if that's actually true.
I mean, they do, though. It's not.
Parents need retreats.
You're putting out a lot of energy as a parent, and then your career, and like everything. I mean, especially.
And if your child's younger and you're not ready to leave them alone, bring them.
But you still.
I literally pick you up from the airport, and I take you right to the hotel,
mm-hmm.
and we stay there for the first night, and then the next day we go up to our first retreat house up in the volcanic highlands. Epic, beautiful, stunning volcanoes. Mm-hmm. The most lush, luxurious hot spring adventure you will ever experience. Literally, the Kardashians went to this springs resort that we're going to. And it's just like the best way to start the trip because you're just like, yes, queen, I am here. And I am worthy of being treated just like Beyonce. I am worthy of being treated so good. Mm-hmm. I am worthy of stepping into my goddess energy and receiving.
Mm-hmm. Hey, woman of that.
Mm-hmm. And then, you know, there's always been one brave male, which I love. So far, it's just been one brave male each time. But he really holds the container, and I help him learn how to stand in his masculine even more and also soften into his feminine. Where it's right, where it's appropriate. Mm-hmm. So I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with this movement of helping multi-generational experiences happen and, you know, moving even deeper into the religious wounding and witch wounding and helping us to reclaim God as our erotic essence. And it's not just sex. It's literally the life force. It's our very breath, you know? Mm-hmm. That's what we are. It's the pulse of life itself. And what does it feel like in your being when you begin to give space for that and also to trust the intelligence of whatever messy, sloppy thing you think is no good in your life? How can we hold that with reverence too? Mm-hmm. And watch it transform on its own timeline? Without you needing to like white knuckle it or force it or, you know, push it. Like how can we like land in the cosmic maw?
Beautiful.
You know?
That's awesome. Good for you.
Thank
you. That's exciting.
Yeah. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about
Yes, I love it. If we're not that passionate, we got to figure out how to get that passionate.
Right. If it dies, I'll go start working, you know, as a server again.
There we go.
Which is fine because that makes a ton of money too. I'm just, you know, this is like it. This is like my life.
That's so wonderful. Well, what does radical self-acceptance mean to you and how has it played a role in your journey?
Oh my God, I love this so much because I just took a workshop the other day and that was one of the prompts. And it was like, what am I radically accepting right now? And it was like my monster. So I was taught that I'm too loud. I'm too much. I'm a bitch. I'm outspoken, I'm aggressive. And I was, and I can be.
Right.
And it was like, how do I hold that monster, that ferocious collie, I'm going to fucking kill people energy, and let her find her way to be integrated into my life? How can I feed that fire so it's not, so I'm really tending it so it doesn't become wildfire, and it's not just dim and quiet and I'm stuffed and I'm living inauthentically. That's what it means to me. If we can't embrace those parts that we were taught are bad and no good, especially as women, but honestly as anybody, because sex is so shamed. So everybody's getting attacked by that one.
Right.
And then males get it in one way and females get it in another way and two spirits get it in a whole other horrible way.
Right.
And it's like, first of all, two spirits have been around till the end of, like, for eons. Even you look at the stars, astrology, Hermes or Mercury is the hermaphrodite. Two spirits have always been there. Trans is not new. None of that's new. But a lot of this, like, more radical self-acceptance is coming up because we do need to heal the relationship with our sexuality and God, or whatever God means to you.
Right.
That life force itself could just be God. But we need that, and we need to practice. So these retreats that are 2 weeks are a good practice. Because when you just go on a 5-day, like, that's great, but, like, none of your shit comes up. I mean, I don't know. Some of my shit comes up in 5 days. But what really happens when we learn how to really hold and be held?
Right.
It's a transformation. I should give people a certificate at the end because that's what happens. You transform.
Unplugged from our, like, regular life, no phones, like, however that is. I've been on containers and trainings, specifically with the Phoenix Humanities School. And I just did a week in May in Bozeman, Montana. And the first thing, they welcome you with a hug, you sign a waiver, and you hand over your phone. And I didn't have my phone for a whole week. And it's like, being a business owner, who I am, blah, blah, blah. That was, like, so nourishing to not track time, to not track anything but my body, my hungry, time for the next lecture, time for the next movement. There goes our dear friend walking out of the yard now. So yeah, I really just think having those sacred containers for people to show up exactly as they are and to get into our bodies and breath and all of that, reconnection with spirit and God and all that's really important. And that's, I think, how we are going to evolve and, have more greater consciousness is through these containers that you're creating and that other people are creating.
Yeah.
But just that you're also walking the walk, it's not, you're not just talking about this stuff, you're actually embodied living it. And I think that just has a deeper gift for the planet, and especially for women. I mean, I know that you're doing co-ed, but I just think women need it so much, that community connection and that container, and just to be witnessed and seen and acknowledged and just offer that understanding for where they are in their life. It's really such a beautiful opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. I love what you're saying about that. And I really, like, thought about the male versus female. I actually am going to be starting a mini course for the new year because we have some of our, like, wealthiest timeline astrologically this like coming right up in January. So I'm starting a container for that. It will be a 7-week container that meets every other week and mostly online, but for my in-person people, we'll have an in-person cohort as well. And that is women only. I will give you details on that. We're still fine-tuning all the little things. Okay. Hillary and I are kind of doing it together. But when I really sit with it, and maybe this is because Mercury is really big in my chart, it's on my ascendant in Gemini, so I have that Hermes energy. Like, I got some masculine, feminine crossover two-spirit stuff. I feel very much identified as femme in my life right now, but there's been lots of time where I was very in my tomboy era, like for 2 decades. So to me, women will start feeling safe when men provide safety. So I need to teach men how to be safe. And I do appreciate that there's lots of men's circles, and I think they are crucial and really important for men to be with men in that way.
For sure.
And I think some women need to teach men how to feel, how to help them learn how to stand in their own so that women feel safe around them. So that's what happens when a man joins my container.
Yeah, beautiful.
Is that they get that opportunity to embody their masculinity and practice, being in their authenticity, practice holding their shadows, because they're just taught to hide it all too. So yeah, and actually been talking about holding just male containers and just female containers. But that's all needed. I really, we all need help. And even in terms of the patriarchy, when I think about the patriarchy, I notice that languaging to me feels kind of divisive. I actually had this debate over Thanksgiving. I was at this amazing place for Thanksgiving called Earth Dance, and it's a contact improv space, and they host like a potluck weekend dance container. And someone was like, I want to raise my babies in a matriarchy. And, she's in her young 20s. And this woman's like, a matriarchy, I think she was in her 30s or 40s. And she's like, matriarchy sounds horrible. Just women ruling the world. Like, I don't love the patriarchy, but, and I just like could feel all the division. And I was like, I think there's been a wild overcoupling and misspoken about how it's not really, yes, patriarchy is what's been happening. There's been a patriarchal rule but it's really about misogyny. There's been misogyny. True patriarchy is exactly what we all want. We want that daddy energy. We want that big daddy energy. Everybody does. I don't care if you're gay or lesbian or whatever. That big daddy energy is hot, and it makes us feel safe and loved and cared for. So how can we honor a true patriarchy, which is the father? And that's why I love thinking about the son as that loyal, steadfast, like devoted daddy that's just like on fire for his woman. And the way in which the matriarchy or the feminine gets to play and explore and express from that space. We need to work on toxic capitalism. We need to work on colonialism and the way that Christianity was literally bought and packaged, and all the real Christ teachings have been mostly slaughtered in that corporate challenge, basically, that took over the whole world, erased people's actual cultural heritage, and just put in like Christian, Catholic. And I'm not hating on my Christians and my Catholics. I've actually made so much peace with it. And I know it takes all kinds to make the world go round.
Correct.
But toxic capitalism and toxic misogyny are ending. They are ending. That's what's happening right now. Yes. We're having a huge resurgence.
Thank you. Beautiful.
So how can we help to embody that? And my last little favorite part of this whole thing is that Pluto just went into its out of bounds. So it goes out of bounds. All the planets have their out of bounds, and it's either in the north or the south, because everything's on an elliptic, right? It's not just like going like this in a sphere. It's actually moving. And so our little, we got our equator and then the Tropic of Capricorn and Cancer, and everything goes like this. It just does a wave pattern. So when it goes out of bounds, there's this amazing astrologer named Rosie Finn. Look her up. She studies sidereal. She studies Vedic. She studies tropical. She does it all. She's amazing.
My sister-in-law.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, she's in Olympia. That's my sister-in-law. I was going to bring her up, and I'm like, ooh, who's she going to say? Yeah, that's my sister-in-law.
Oh, my God. I'm obsessed with her.
That's so awesome. Oh, I'm going to text her after this.
I'm so excited. My best friend who turned me on to her is going to be like, ah!
Yes.
So
finished
So you
the Out of
probably
Bounds.
know that she's been doing research on Pluto for 20 years.
Yeah. Yep.
And I don't know even how far she went back studying it, but like deep into like thousands of years.
Correct.
She's been looking at the pattern, right?
Yes.
So we just hit on September 11th, Pluto going out of bounds, and that out of bounds. So in her study, she saw that whenever it went, I honestly can't remember if it's north or south, but when it went in north, let's just say the people got their power back. And when it went south, the people lost their power. Full on tyranny. Mm-hmm. It just did the one that makes us get our power back.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
So we have that for 10 years. Mm-hmm. 10 years. I'm 44 years old. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? We better step on the gas, baby. While that's doing what it's doing, because the astrology is real. Totally. And we are puppets to it. Yes. By the grace of God. Like, it does influence us heavily. And when we work with it, we begin to change our relationship with it, and we're not just a captive audience to it anymore, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So with this, I'm like, it's time.
2026. I mean, I've literally been listening to her I've lived in Olympia since 98 and probably met her in 99. And she used to do monthly talks called Plants and Planets with an herbalist, Carol Trisato. Yes. And she's talked about 2026 since I was in my late 20s, early 30s. I'm 52. So yes! I'm just like, yeah, wow, here it is. It's like the 2026 to 2032 where it's like, yep, it's still going to be kind of challenging but it's happening. And the fact that all of the major planets, 5 of them changed signs this year. We've never had that in our lifetime. And we've never had the Pluto out of bounds in our lifetime, like in this way. And then it's shifting into Aquarius. It's just, it's powerful. And personally, just the year of the snake, like, holy goddess, have I shed so much stuff this year, so much stuff. And I'm so deeply grateful for all of my teachers and mentors and coaches. And I'm already feeling that rev of the year of the horse and just that potentiality and that power. And I'm deeply, deeply grateful to be shifting out of 2025 very soon. Mm-hmm, yeah, there's so much potential. There's so much potential. And when we can come into it, like you're saying, in that embodied way and that connected way and that way of community, that's how the heck we're going to really rise and become more sovereign and more in our power, and then be able to share that with the world and just create those safe and sacred containers for people to show up and leave transformed. Right. I mean, it can be a life. What you're creating in Costa Rica is going to be a life-changing experience for people. So that's just so wonderful and beautiful that you are creating these containers for men and women. It's really important. I think having similar gender and co-ed, all gender expressions, like, it's important that we're creating all of those containers, in my opinion, because I've done the same. I've mostly done women and girls since 2009. And doing other containers. My sound healing workshops and things, everybody comes, but I've run My Body, My Power since 2009 and have worked with tween and teen girls primarily, but I rebranded in 23 and now I'm doing adult retreats as well. So it's amazing. That's kind of my favorite thing, is just being in sacred containers.
Oh, yeah. Right. And there's, it was like, what made me, basically decide at a certain point that, like, especially as an entrepreneur, like, I need to have a mentor all the time. I like, most of us are sitting around with brilliant ideas, and only like 6% of the people actually have what it takes to execute and get shit done, like to move on their dreams and their ideas. Yes. Without the help of someone else. Right. We need to be, we're social, we're mammals, we're pack animals, man. Totally. So when we join forces with people who are a few steps above us in their journey, or even, close, and we have that, even if you can't afford a mentor, like body doubling, like, get on the body doubling. Mm-hmm. Get on where you and another person are on the phone while you're doing your little work, so you can get your stuff done and stay accountable, because it's so easy in this day and age. We're taught that, like, isolating and that there's certain things that we shouldn't show or shouldn't share, and we should only show it when we're happy and when things are amazing and we got their first class tickets and we're on the beach, and it's all Instagram. It's like, it's just showing one side. Completely. We need to be seen.
Correct.
fully.
Fully.
It is our life force. That's what holistic means to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what my containers help to hold for people.
Beautiful.
People mostly enter thinking they got one thing, and then a whole nother slew of little, things show up and that's where the real magic happens.
Mm-hmm.
Is in that ability to hold counsel, to hold each other. And then from that space to make the transformations. I help people go from their dead end jobs that pay well to an actual job that they love that still pays well.
Mm-hmm.
Why not? Like, what are we doing here?
For real, we don't. It's like, this is it. This is the one final bit.
So, yeah. So I thank you. I appreciate you doing this work and continuing to help to expand people's consciousness and awareness that there are more people in the world like this doing this kind of work. Mm-hmm. And just the importance, because I think that's one of the biggest things for me is when I started to realize, like, oh, there's other people doing this too. Like,
right.
I still get excited, like the container I met you in
with Craft.
Camille, I was like, oh my God, there's so many amazing witches in here. Like, it was just like this, I don't know if you identify as a witch, but just like this powerful women living their path.
Totally. Now it's been life-changing to be in. I've been in her container since the lunar new moon in January. So I have like a month left.
Nice.
Yeah, so many people. And I mean, Camille Craft, Vital Mystic in general, holy goddess, that woman, to witness her just in this year. And I mean, she's just totally transformed. And I mean, now I'm learning more of her personal story and just, holy goddess, the stuff she's been through. But yeah, I mean, to be a 38-year-old millionaire, I'm like, fucking go, girl, get it. Yeah, and then just to be in that vibe with everybody and and then the siren container, I'm like, go. It's just so exciting to be a part of.
You're not in siren.
I'm not in siren, but just watching the whole process of siren. And because that's my thing.
Yeah.
I mean, being in Gifted, I have access to so many programs.
Oh, right. Yes.
And she's created probably 7 to 10 different containers since I've been in Gifted, and we're automatically, grandmothered into those things. But yeah, it's just been such a beautiful opportunity to learn so much from her, and excited to just implement a lot, because it's a lot. There's with that Telegram thread. I mean, there's sometimes hundreds of people in those things. And then Gifted I'm in with 23 other CEOs, and it's just, I learned so much from everybody. So, but it's hard to take all that and then start to implement it and running the business and doing all the things. So I'm excited to just take next year and just really start implementing a lot of it and go through. I haven't even been through a lot of her educational programs because it's just doing the rituals and staying on track of all that stuff. So yeah, I've learned so much, and it's just been such a wonderful opportunity. But that's it, having a mentor and having community. I mean, I don't know how people don't have that and thrive and are successful. And I mean, I know it happens, but it can.
Yeah, I know you can have money, but I think that, do you have the peace in your heart? Do you have the passion in your body? Like that's, and I will say the reason I joined her siren is because I was on that her little promotional thing. Mm-hmm. And we had a group call, and I was like floundering already. I'm like, I can't keep up with this. And she's like, just do what you can and trust that that's enough.
Yep.
And I was like, this is it, man. This is because she's giving me so much content. She's giving me so many things. Right. But if I can just remember, because I can start to get like overwhelmed, like, oh my God, I didn't keep up with the thing and I'm not doing the marketing. It's like literally just lay down, light a candle.
Yep. That's it.
Take some deep breaths. Let your body feel what it feels.
Right.
And then I like get on my text and it's like, you just booked another client. And I'm like, that's so cool, like the power that we have when we align with that God energy of abundance of like, I'm just worthy. I'm literally just worthy right now as I am. Dirty laundry everywhere.
Yeah. That's it. I mean,
unfinished business, and that sort of acceptance begins to transform something, and it does begin to give us sparks and help us land
and help us and draw people in.
Move. Yeah.
Well, Neko, how do people find you online?
How do you find me? My website, Neko 360. It's Neko 3 spelled out and 60 spelled out.
Okay.
So Neko 360. It looks like Neko, but it is Neko, Neko.
Thank you.
And I'm on Instagram, also same name, Neko 360. And I'm on Facebook, also Neko 360.
Okay.
And what else am I on? TikTok, same thing.
Okay. Wonderful.
And yeah, I have only 3 more spots for the retreat. It is an intimate retreat. We don't book more than 12 people so that you really get to dive deep with me.
That's lovely.
And yeah, there's 3 more beds.
Wonderful.
The price is $3,444. It will be a shared room. That's all we have left is shared accommodations. But it's the rooms that are shared, it's only 3 beds. So it's not like, there's only 12 of us in total. You're not going to get bombarded in a dorm style vibe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
wonderful.
That's what we got going on.
All right. Any final words for our listeners?
I just want to say thank you. And I just want to encourage people to keep listening to their body and letting that, the mind, the mental body, the emotional body, the physical body, and the energy body all they're on the same team. Mm-hmm. So how can you help to support them feeling that remembrance,
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Kristen. Thank you, Neko, for this beautiful conversation. And thank you to our listeners for stopping by and enjoying this conversation along with us. We will see you next time. Community Power Rocks. Thank you for joining me on this journey of empowerment and connection on the My Body, My Power podcast. If you loved today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who inspires you. Together, we're creating a ripple effect of confidence, courage, and light. Until next time, Goddess, keep shining your power.